Hey guys, this is Frank, your virtual general aviation aviator, and today I am going to take the Pilatus, the PC-12, which is this guy here, over to, well, forgive me, I know not what I do. I leased this thing on from a financing company on FSE because I was able to get it for three-quarters of $1 million or $750,000. And needless to say, the thing costs about $1 million. So I'm like, well, I can save $250,000. So that's a good deal. Now, that's only half the problem. The biggest problem is the thing is in Africa. It's actually in the Congo. And there's my oxygen. It's pretty loud. Um, and trims and flaps. I know that now. I'm actually going through my checklist. So it's actually in the Congo, which is which is a problem because I've got to get it from. I fly in the United States, and not only that, I primarily fly VFR. So my IFR time is limited, and I'm not well versed in a lot of IFR procedures, especially in terms of talking with ATC, um, just doing a lot of the IFR stuff and fire. And to get this plane from the Congo to the United States, all the while flying missions so that I can pay for the thing is definitely going to be a challenge. Now, with that said, I've kind of got an idea or how I want to proceed. Um, my first leg is I just pulled up the map for for Sky Vector, and the first leg is this airport, Kinshasa, and I can hardly pronounce English words, let alone foreign words, but Kinshasa in the Congo, and I am going to fly to Libreville. I'm just going to call it Leon, but the the ICO the ICO for this the ICAO for this airport is FOOL. Forgive me for I know not what I do. Sometimes I feel like that's what I am for attempting to get this airplane to the United States. Now, with FSE, I can't just say, okay, the airplane is here, and I'm just gonna spawn it in to some location here in the United States. I literally have to fly it to the United States. So my idea is to pick routes that would get me um, through Africa, up through these African nations, up into the Middle East, on up into Europe, um, and and then let's see, yeah, on up into Europe, probably up to this airfield, or and then skip to here, to Iceland, to Greenland, and then to Canada, and on down through Canada into the U.S. Um, to my home airport, which is right up in here. Uh, it just don't have the range to fly the Atlantic Ocean, um, nor does it have the range to fly from from this point to this point. What I don't know if there are any islands. Well, so yeah, that's the plan. There are basically two ways I could go. I could go the the Canada route, or I could go and pick my let's see, let me get my bearings. Okay, here I am. I could go and try to pick my way up through Russia and on up through this way and wind up trying to fly from Russia to Alaska and then back down. Um, that's probably, hmm, well, suffice it to say that that it's not that hard flying from east to west, but if I get here and I get a decent headwind, I might not make it to this island, or if I make it here and try to I just might not make it. So again, forgive me for I know not what I do, but I am gonna try it, and we will see what happens. Okay, back to the checklist. Okay, fuel reset switch. That's not modeled. Okay, now I can start up the engine. So beacon light comes on. And of course, they want me to test the ethers. Once I'm down there again, I will test it. Yellow caution and warning. They're probably they may not be on. Yep, they're good. And since I'm down here, I might as well go ahead and test the ethers. And it tests okay. Okay. And hit the starter switch. Normally I have to hold it for 2 seconds, but in the Coronado, I don't. Okay. When this gets to 13, I can introduce some gas, which I just did. Look at my ITT and torque, my RPM, and my oil pressure. Oil pressure looked good. ITT looked good. And I'm over 50% on NG. That means I've got a good start. Okay, so I've got a good start, guys. Bring that condition level to ground idle. And I thought I did that. I didn't see that change off automatically. Okay, ground idle right there. Okay, and uh, not the NG is greater than, oh yeah, yeah, that didn't check off automatically, but it should have. Okay, so avionics 1 and 2 can come on. Inverter can come on, which it is. Standby switch can go off. And the environment control torque, we need to get that above 5. Right now it's at 2.5, so I'm just going to give it some throttle, and we got that good, got that working. And let's see if we got anything on our enunciators. Nothing here, no warnings, so we are good to go. and um, the 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 ADS radio is not modeled in the Coronado. I might need it with some of these flights. I think in Africa they do have some. I did see some NDBs on the chart. Okay, transponder goes comes on and go to standby. Let me go ahead and get my Garmin warmed up. I've already added the flight plan, and the flight plan uh it didn't remember it. Okay, so I'm gonna have to add it back. I'm flying the FOOL, and I am flying direct. Okay, so let me hit direct, and there it is on my map. Okay, transponder um, goes got standby. Okay, so good on the transponder, and the altimeter. I am going to get that from the the sim. So the altimeter is 2982. Let me get the winds while I'm here. 2982, and let's see. Visibility 4.3 nautical miles. Winds are 331 at 2 knots. So winds are really not a factor. Okay, so I'm gonna take off on any airport because I got the runway length 2982, and 2982 on this one. Okay, so we're 1,010 feet roughly above sea level. Okay, flaps go to 15%. Test the autopilot. Look good. Look good. And just hit that test again, just so that stuff would go. All right, cancel those, and autopilot turns it gets goes off, which I think I did turn it off. Got to look. Nope, still on. Okay, and cancel this again. Okay. Um, and overhead panel. Let's turn the seat belt sign on. And let's start our flight. That's my cue. Okay, so my um, I've got 283 gallons, two assignments loaded, and so I'm good on FSE to Iceland. I'm in Africa. That's not going to be an issue. Cooling. I'm not going to worry about that. AHRS is always set. Alternate step. The trim may need to be adjusted, and it does. This light right here um, is my stabilizer trim light, and this needle right here needs to come up in the green, and that takes care of that. And no warnings, so we can tax it now. Um, and I I think for aviation, they basically speak English at at well, I know they don't in Russia. Hey, Stephanie, how are you? I'm good. Yep, my favorite too. In fact, I got two of them. This is the Coronado one, and I bought the STMA version because it's doesn't look as good, but more the systems are modeled. So my plans just kind of switch up on both of them. If you saw the title of this stream, it says, "Forgive me, for I know not what I do." I leased a plane in from a leasing group for FSEconomy. My lease payments are roughly $100,000 a month, and that's not the problem. The problem is the plane is located in Africa, in the Congo, and I've got to fly it to the United States. Unfortunately, with FSE, you just can't transport a plane from one location to another like you can in X-plane. You literally have to fly from location to location. So that is what I'm doing. I'm starting now. Ooh, didn't mean to turn my engines off. Let's see. I think I saved. I think I got a save. Yep, ITT is coming back up. Um, Park and brake release. Okay, they are. And let's check this guy. Yeah. So I am in the Congo, and I've got to fly to the U.S., which all which means I just got to pick my way through um, from airport to airport. The If there's any consolation, I've got 8 months to do it, and I've got to earn money doing it because I got a lease payment of $100,000 a month. So I've got to earn the money to pay off this aircraft. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Um, I'm not gonna stream every flight that I do because I've got some that I can see where I can get from one airport to the another in uh, in about 1,000 nautical mile leaps. Yeah, it's a long way. Yeah, I'm thinking that by the time I finish, I ought to be a an expert with out to be, well, not an expert, but a seasoned PC-12 pilot. Um, at least you would think I would become a seasoned PC-12 pilot after so much flying. Um, but who knows? I am up to the challenge. Okay, go to the holding point, and winds were 330 at 2 knots. So I am going to take off on this runway, even if I've got the wrong runway. Um, the winds is yeah. I wish I would love to have been a certificate PC-12 pilot in real life. Well, shoot, for that matter, I would have loved to be a Cessna 172, 152 pilot at this point. All right, and I am hoping that I can get to the top of the runway. Let's give it a look, see, and see. Nope, can't get there this way. And looks like I should have got on right there and then back tax it up the runway. I didn't pull a chart for this airport. I've got so far to go that most of these flights that I'm going to make, at least while I'm in unfamiliar airspace, um, will be um, primarily just to get the plane from one destination to the next, just to book the money. All right, so I'm going to go to the next, and once I get to my location, let's see, and I'm not even going to try to call the airport name because
approaching runway 06,
I would
24.
I would butcher it.
Entered runway 06, 24.
Okay, so I'm going to go this way and back taxi. Um, Kinshan Shaw, something like that is the name of this airport. All right, probably don't need all this runway, but they would tell you in real life you take as much runway as you can get, because just in case you have an engine outage. Okay, so uh, cooling goes off, which it is. Parking brake, I'm not gonna set. Um, fuel pumps are auto. Landing light comes on. Taxi light goes off. Strobe lights are on. Passenger seat belts. Okay, transponder can go to altitude reporting. And to make things even tougher, I've got a different GPS, upgraded the GPS in this aircraft, and I'm not familiar with it. So I'm actually learning the GPS as I fly the aircraft. Um, Go to okay, and then next. All right. So get rid of that guy for power. Well, takeoff power. On a turbo, you just can't give it full power like you can on a piston engine unless it's calibrated so you can firewall it. Okay, rotate. All right, positive rate. Tap the brake. Gear up. And like it is foggy. I think it's early. I think the weather engine is getting early morning weather engine in the Congo, even though, all right, 300 above, flaps up, which would account for the fog because I do have on real world weather. Okay, so flaps and landing gear is up. Um, Environmental control, go to auto. Power can go to 39.6. Yep, that's good. And actually, it says 36.9, but I'm gonna leave it where it's at. All right, and most stuff is done. Engine oil look good. All right. Yeah, I'm buying it. I'm leasing it. So I'm leasing it to own. So after I pay it off, then it's mine. Um, so so it's funny how they that you can go to other websites that do nothing but sell planes for FSE. Now I could have bought one that was already in the United States. Okay, let me turn on my autopilot and nav nav should be set to GPS. It is, and I should pick up my Magenta line, and I got a climb rate of 1,100 feet per minute, and I want to go directly up to 22,000 feet. Yeah, so I do have shucks, just that quick. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, I did buy it in from a website that interface with FSE, and I've already made the down payment, which was I think I put $250,000 down on it. The reason I bought it out of the Congo is because this aircraft costs on FSE about $1 million. You got some that you can get for about 900, and some that sell as much as 1.2 million.
Climbing through transition altitude.
I'm not climbing through transition altitude yet. Well, unless transition altitude is 5,000 in this airspace. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hit standard then, since I've been advised. Anyway, um, the so I found this one discounted down to $750,000, $750,000. The only caveat was it was in the Congo, and I said, well, that means if I buy it, I've got roughly $250,000 that I can use that I would have saved, and I could fly missions where I could use the $250,000 and just not even get passengers and fly it to the US. But when I realized, well, I got to make payments on the aircraft at $100,000 a month, that means I've got to fly missions so I can earn the money to be able to pay for the aircraft while I'm trying to get it to the United States. Hence, I've hold on just a second. I got a phone call. Hello? Hold on. Hello? Yeah. Um, yeah. Hold on. I'm on the computer talking to somebody, but I'll be out there in a minute. Um, Stefan, I've got to to go outside for a minute, so I am going to step away. Somebody just pulled up and they want me to help them with something, and but I am going to let the sim run, and it should capture the altitude by itself. But anyway, um, I think you get the gist of what I was just saying. Is that, and I'm going to set this to climb a little bit slower, because as I get higher and the wind, the air get thinner, then the autopilot may disengage if I try to climb too fast, if the plane goes into a stall. Anyway, so you get the idea. I've got to fly missions and make money, pick my way through the country, up through Africa, up through the Middle East, on up through India, cross over to Iceland, dealing with a headwind, and into Greenland, flying against the headwind, into Canada, and then back down into the United States. So that's the plan. So I will be right back. I'm just gonna go and help, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I am back. I am climbing through 13,000 feet for 22,000, and and I am on my magenta line. I'm climbing at 900 feet a minute. And I am going to call this, well, once I get to my cruising altitude, well, no, I am going to, I wonder what river I got below me. Um, you guys see that? Look like a pretty good sized river. At least I thought I saw, there's the river. Um, is that a road? That's a river. And look on the chart. I don't see the aircraft up. Still. I can't use I can't use flight following, not flight following, but for flight on my iPad for this because it only works for air. My subscription only covers the United States. So I take I can take and pull up Sky Vector and FCAAFOOL and okay, so yeah, and it's hard to know where I'm at. Okay, so I do see a river, and this is probably the river that I'm looking at and trying to zoom in on it, and I can't zoom any further, and I can't get the name of the river. Um, but there's the there's I'm looking at a pretty significant river that's cutting through the continent of Africa, like it's dumping into the Indian Ocean. And I wonder if this the now. No, it says the Kinshasa. If whoever's familiar with the continent may know, well, that might be the now, because that's a big river and it's going through the heart of Africa. How many hours for this first journey? This one is going to be, it's 42. Let's see. That's a good question. Let's look. Uh, so there's my sky vector chart, and it's right here. And here it says it's ETA is 4 hours. Wow. Yeah, so as soon as I get to my cruising altitude, then I think I'm going to end this stream and pick it back up once I get closer to my destination. There's, I've seen, you know, I've seen people with FBOs um, and who have bought multiple aircraft. I didn't start my A cars. Oh yeah, I did. With multiple aircraft, and it has for to earn the money. Let's see, let me just get rid of the map now. Um, Find what to click on to do that. To earn the money that I've earned, I've had to do it manually. Um, right now, I've got this $13,000 on hand. Oh yeah, yeah, I do have the GPS that I can see my position, um, and I'm brand new to it. And just that quick, I forget that I can actually see my position. Um, but I've got flights planned for the next few hours anyway. Let's see if it'll let me show you what I got planned. Let's see, FSE, interact. There we go. Okay, so click here on my flight. So this is the leg that I'm doing now, and then once I get to food, then I don't see food. Let's see, my destination is food, so I should have a location from food. Why don't I see that location? Let me click on it. Let me go back. I must have forgot to do something. So I'm going to food, and then once I get to food, I want to take another flight. Um, so where am I flying out of food to? Uh, I sit here and plan a bunch of flights so that once I get into an airport, all I have to do is just end and restart the flight in FSE. But I skipped a step, and now it looks like I'm gonna have to redo everything. Uh, well, that's life, right? So I just have to do what I have to do. But the um, the GTN, yeah, the GTN does have these flights. Get in the cockpit. Yep. So you are absolutely right. I can see. You must be familiar with this GTN, um, more so than I am. But the cool thing about it is I can zoom out and see the world. Um, for the lack of a better word, I'm at 400 nautical miles. Um, I think that's the max, which is significant. I mean, 400 nautical miles is awesome. And yeah, so with that said, I've got a long way to go. The river that I was just speaking about is this river here. Um, let's see if I can see that river. Too long went over it. I think this is the river here. Yeah, okay, so you are familiar with the PCN, and sounds like you got the GTN 750 also. You know, my favorite plane was, okay, I'm reaching my cruise altitude. My favorite plane was the Piper Arrow. I think I still probably have more hours in that aircraft than any other, but I'm probably fast supplanting that with the PC-12 logbook. So here are the PC-12s. This one would be the STMA, where it doesn't have Coronado in front of it. I did install the ZN 142, um, but yeah, as you can see, I've got the TBM 900, and I still fly the PC-12 more so than the Zen. And actually, what I'm finding is that after spending so much time in aircraft that fly 200, where I can cruise at 200 and 220 knots, it's kind of hard going back to aircraft that with a cruise speed of 95, the 152, 95 knots, or the 172, 107, 110 knots, or the Piper 115 to 120 knots. It's kind of hard going back to those. Um, but I still do fly them. I think I did a flight in the Piper in the P-28 Arrow just the other day. Here it is on 20 on this date. Um, so so yeah, the I don't have the Mooney. I have looked at getting the Mooney. Um, excuse me. And the reason I didn't get it was some of the posts were saying that while it flies excellent, the panel just needs some work, and I thought I might wait until the guy work on the panel. But from looking through the forums, it sounds like it's the flight dynamics might justify a purchase of it. So with that said, I may pick up the Mooney uh, at some point real soon. The I did fly a Mooney about 10 years ago um, when I was simming with Microsoft Flight Sim X. So I am looking at, okay, that's FSE. Yeah, I did fly the Mooney then when I was simming with Microsoft um, FSX, but I haven't tried it in X plane yet. Um, I've got in my, I can show you my hangar. Let's see, flight. So right now in my hangar, I don't do a lot with airliners at all. So for airliners, the only thing I've got would be the Dornier 328, which I don't really fly. It was freeware, um, but um, but yeah, I've got the Baron. Um, I don't really fly that either. I do play around with the Carbon Cub occasionally. I kind of like that plane, even though it does need some work. And I spent a lot of time in the Cessnas. The King Air I do have. Don't really fly it. The Piper I spent a lot of time in, and I just picked up the PC-12 by STMA because the dynamic, the modeling is a little bit better. It's not skinned nearly as beautifully as the Coronado. You probably already know that. The Robin, the TBM 900, I do like that plane, but it's not a good plane for FSE because I can't put as many passengers in the fuselage in the cabin in the I can't fly as many passengers, which is the only reason I don't fly that plane any more than I do. I will. I take your word for it. And there is a when I'm looking for a GA aircraft to try out, I have learned that the best thing to do is to go to xplane.org and either find a thread or start a thread to get some feedback. And the let's see, I lost my aircraft here. There it is. And so yeah, I am spending. I have heard some really good things about the Mooney collection. I'm told that it's almost like the STMA um, version of the PC-12. You know, the the with the STMA version, the the models do work, but it's just not as pretty. I have spoken with the developer uh, at STMA, and he says that, well, when I say spoken, not, uh, I mean via the forum, and he says that he's working on the PC-12 47E, which should be hopefully how will look as good as the Coronado. I'm hoping that he make it a study level aircraft because he knows that I, I like you, am a PC-12 fan, and he's been working on it now for a couple. I think about. I think I've heard a couple years. So hopefully that's gonna come to fruition pretty soon. Now, with that said, a lot of developers may want, well, I know that Microsoft is soaking up a lot of the scenery makers. Um, and where are they getting these scenery makers? Well, none of the alpha testers will tell you. These scenery developers are coming straight from X-Plane. The guys who develop scenery from X-Plane, and Microsoft is soaking them up. I don't know if they are going to soak up the aircraft developers. Um, I suspect that eventually they will, um, once they make their aircraft development tools available to that community, um, which means that if STMA Shade Tree um, micro, I forgot. I know the ST stand for Shade Tree, but nevertheless, if he doesn't if he gets soaked up by Microsoft, he may never finish the the development for X-Plane unless he's got so much into the development already that he decide, well, just it's got too much vested in it to abandon it, which I hope might would be the case. So so yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Okay, now I should have did this long ago, but I never did do my cruise checklist so my inertia separator can come off. My landing light should have came off long before I reached 10,000 feet, and my passenger and seatbelt signs to come off. Actually, the no smoking sign should stay on. Okay, and I am cruising. My torque should come way down in cruise. Let's see, I got a power rating here, so let's see what the power rating is, which means that I am going to have to turn the persistent map on. Do you use X checklist for your checklist and on your PC-12, or do you have some other checklist that you use? Okay, the back button. Thanks. That helps. That does help. I, like I said, I am learning, and I um, I see a bunch of video on YouTube on help that I can watch to get familiar with the GTN 750, and of course I got the trainers that came with the the package, and I think the trainers ought to be great because I believe they're for real world pilots. Um, just haven't taken the time to go through them yet, but thanks for that tip. Um, I know that this thing has a lot of capability, and I'm actually hell, I'm not even scraping the tip of the iceberg yet. Okay, so where was I going with this? I was looking up something. One of those days. Well, for me, every day is one of those days. I can tell you this about. Oh yeah, I was looking for my power ratings. I can tell you this about Microsoft. It is going to be a day one purchase. I I don't have any interest in participating in the beta because I don't want to have to make reports to Microsoft about what I find good and what I find bad about the system. Um, and, I just don't want to get caught up in having to report. I want to just be able to enjoy it. But even if the day one purchase is a beta, I do intend to buy it as soon as it comes out, provided that it's not some crazy, crazy price. If if the selling price is $199 for the beta, then I may have to wait to the production copy. Um, and because I have no clue, I don't know if they plan to sell it for $9.99, $99.99, or $200 or $300. Just don't know yet. And the reason I say that is because I pretty much have been assured that they don't intend to offer a subscription for it. But with that said, I've got my own theories. I think that while they may sell the software for a low price, maybe 59 or $99. Okay, so I guess by doing the iPad chat list, you get to use real world chat lists. Um, I imagine that's probably what come up mostly. That's a good tip too. Appreciate that. My theory on Microsoft's model for making money off flight sim is why they may sell the initial software for $59.99 or some affordable price. They probably develop add-ons that might carry a subscription. So I'm thinking they might develop a a worldwide ATC network that they man or figure out a way to man, similar to VATSIM, or more realistically similar to Pilot Edge, um, and make money from that perspective. Or they might, I know they had a multi-game player, um, before they gave up Flight Sim. Yeah, the I should find one and print it off because that's the way it's done in the real world. The guys have the checklist in the hand, and they get to glance at stuff and go through it. Um, but what I do like about the X lister checklist is some of it forces me to to actually look at stuff if I especially if I set it not to auto advance and I have to literally check it off. Um, so and also what I like about it is when I'm doing a checklist and stream, then you guys get to follow along with the checklist to some degree. I know it's real hard to see text and explain because you can't really adjust the size of it, but it is what it is. So, what is pan mode? I've seen pan mode a couple of times. I don't know what that is, and I know over time as I start actually doing the research and figuring out this stuff, I will learn what pan mode is. But if you got a one or two sentence answer, then thought I'd just ask. Yeah, you're right about what Microsoft is planning. So back button centers and pop it out here. Okay, so I got 314 nautical miles to my destination. I'm moving over the ground at 271 knots with 185 indicated. So that means I got a decent tailwind. Um, and I can see, I think this right here may be my crab angle, because it's not quite centered. I'm not sure why that's not quite centered. Um, but as I get into this thing and start looking, hopefully I'll learn. I'm gonna go home and terrain proximity. Of course, at 22,000 feet, I'm not gonna see any terrain. So I'm gonna go back, charts, and no information for Foxtrot Oscar Oscar Lima. Approaches, think that's what that means. Backspace. I can call it Libreville for short if I want to make traffic calls. I can pronounce that one. I know Libra means freedom. Let's see. And procedures. There's waypoint. This could be helpful. Okay. And now this is great. I do get, I can use this to navigate to NDBs because one of the things that frustrated me to no end when I didn't want to use the GPS and wanted to fly using waypoints, via radio waypoints, I couldn't use in the Coronado. Let's see, back home. Let's go home map. I couldn't use the F9. Let me right click. Okay, I couldn't use the ADF in this aircraft because this button here is not modeled. Um, I don't know why some of this is modeled. The frequency is modeled, and the AD, well, the frequency is modeled, but you can't change. And the volume, the off and on button is not is modeled, but I don't know why they didn't model this. So to change frequencies. So that's what turn it off. Well, the lights look good on it, so even though it doesn't work. Okay, so and the other thing that yeah, I can tell that. That's why I was asking you if you knew what pan mode here, like if I hit if I click here, then it goes into mode, and I guess pan mode just must be the difference. I see this little guy pops up, and it probably doesn't pop up in the other mode. Maybe, yeah, probably just a word to mean that it does whatever this is. Um, Edit, graphically edit flight plan. Wow, I didn't know we could do that. That's cool. Yeah, this is gonna be great software. Yeah, I've seen that message. Okay. And I have not flown a lot of. I hate the the FMS. I've never learned to use the X-plane FMS. I'm not gonna say I hate it. I only got one plane that I've tried to fly that uses the FMS, the 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 FMS, which is a GA aircraft, and that's the King Air 350. And I just haven't sat around and taken the time to learn how to program the FMS. Since I don't fly airliners, I've never saw a need to really learn the FMS. Now, you say I know that the GTN works also with Navigraph, uh, and I don't I don't have a subscription to Navigraph, nor had I planned to get one because I don't do airline operations. Now, if I ever decide to do airline operations, I will consider using um, getting a subscription to Navigraph to so that I can use databases that are up to date. But for the moment, for the moment, dog, be quiet. For the moment, the the out of date databases that I've been using with with the Garmin 530 has been okay. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the the databases that come from the trainer for the GTN are a lot more up to date than it is in these databases from the Garmin. Hold on for a minute. I think my dog's toy got pushed up under something and he's tearing up my house, trying to get it. So I'll be right back. Okay, dogs, sometimes they can be as bad as kids. Okay, so yeah, I think the database in this 750 is a lot more up to date. In fact, system status and system ID database. So yeah, look at it. I mean, this database is only a year old. I mean, it is expired, but um, you know, September 12th, expired in September 19, and it's less than a year old. Um, so yeah, given that the database in the in this guy, which I don't even think I can pull up the database, is probably 2014, if not older. Explain menu. I don't think I can pull up the database in here. Um, uh, let's see, clicking on stuff. Menu is what I'm looking for. Clear. Just hold the clear button. Okay, menu. Yeah, I don't think I can pull it up. Um, don't really think I ever seen it. But anyway, so I don't have it either. Just saying, I know that using Navigraph, it may update the database and you can add charts direct. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yep. Yep. I agree. And let's see what else it says about the database. So it's got four databases, five databases, six databases, a filter charts database. Uh, let's see. Yeah, there we go. So it's got the navigation database, the base map database, the obstacle hotline database, terrain database, and the safe taxi database. Yeah, audio. Huh, I didn't know it had audio. I did not know that. GP. And I didn't know that you can see how many satellites it's using in their relative position to either to the aircraft, I guess. What is this guy? Okay, you can turn those off and on. I guess those are some of the satellite providers. I might guess. Like number 12 here, I'm not probably means that I'm not getting the best signal out of that, but green probably would be good, and the higher the chart probably be better. So number 15 is this one. I don't know. So, so let's see what else. What else can we look at? Backlight. Never did anything with the backlight. Yeah, I can see it brightening it up a little. So it's set to 2.9. Of course, it was okay at zero. Procedures, and I can see where that would be helpful. T cars, traffic. Um, Now that's grayed out. So, are you able to get T cars on yours? Traffic alerts. I know with this guy, I can get T cars here. By, right now I don't have any traffic, but whenever I do get traffic within the the range, I can see it on this guy. Let's change the range. Uh, Here's my range button. I think this is it. Yeah, it is. And so I'm getting something blinking. Let me go back to my map on this. And map. All right. Get rid of this guy. So I'm just playing around at the moment. Let's see. Now I'm not sure what the numbers mean on this with the 73. I wonder is that my look ahead? Change the range. Nope. So that's 0, 1, 2, 3. So I guess there's a table that would correspond to the 0 through 7, or the 0 through 6, that would tell you what 6 might be a 300-mile look ahead, um, where 0 might be 2 nautical miles. I don't know, but I can see traffic once it's in range on this screen here, and okay, so there's a plug-in that you can buy for traffic. Gotcha. Keep that in mind, because I do use global traffic, and wrong button. And with global traffic, I can like I can turn these labels on, and that give me an 85-mile and 85 knot look ahead on traffic. And global traffic is absolutely seeing no traffic in this area of the country, which is odd. When I was um, deep in the Congo, I was seeing some traffic, but it does use real world routes. And if at this time of day there are no routes over this area, then it's not going to see them. Um, I'm not sure where I've got, let's see, radar. Yeah, so it's just not seeing any traffic within 22 nautical miles. Uh, and the max range is 150 nautical miles. So that's that. So yeah, but but with the Aviator T cars system and the GTN, at least I can see traffic if it's a factor. You can load the departure arrival procedure, and okay, so let's try that. That menu don't take me where I thought it would. So I go home, procedure, departure. Okay, and then should have hit arrival because I've already been departed. But, okay. I'm not sure they got any arrivals for this location. Um, I don't think they do. Um, oh, okay. Maybe they do. All right. So let's go back for a minute. So we got 16 and 34. And now, it's something I never figured out yet, and that's how to determine um, what arrival to use, because if an arrival is starts, at 150 nautical miles to the north of the airport, and I'm approaching from the south, then of course that's not the arrival that I want. I guess that's where the charts come in, I guess. Um, and I have looked at the charts, don't quite understand how to read them yet. Yeah, see, like this one is definitely not an arrival that I want. Um, Arrival, and that's, yeah, this case in point, that's not an arrival that I want because back because I think I am arriving from looks like I'm arriving from the, the southwest. Let's see, southeast. I guess this is, yeah. I'm arriving from the southeast to the southwest to the northwest, and so, and I have, this is stuff that I need to go and learn how to do because um, I guess I would need a chart for the arrivals, so that's why I'm in charts. Okay, and the the um, the airport is full for Leon M, and I guess I'll have to use Mr. Google to get a chart because I don't have this database don't have a chart in it for this airport. Is that Does that make sense? And I'm asking because I don't know. I'm just trying to think through it as I look at it. Let me turn on some lights because know that I know that the cabin can look really dark. On the it can look a lot darker to people on the video than it would to me for some reason. Okay, so I am going to pop out into my browser and search. I guess I can try SkyVector. I don't. And FZAA is my departure. FOL is my arrival. And then click on the arrival airport. All right. And so let me pull this up. Maybe you can help me with it. Are you still there? Let's see. So Bar Airport and see, I don't see any. What is this? Bar Airport. Location information, runway. So I don't see anything that would help me figure out how to load the right arrival for this airport. Interesting. But it was cool having somebody who's got some experience with the GTN 750 to give me a few tips on using it. All right, so looks like I've gotten about halfway. Um, and I can see why, because I've got a ground speed of 276 knots. I mean, that's pretty quick over the ground. That's like um, that's like 300 miles per hour. Uh, Actually, over 300 miles per hour. So let's look. Let's go to back. Let's go to pan mode. And does that tell me what my ETA is? Yeah, my ETA is 25 minutes at this speed. Wow. So I do get really good information. My now BRG. I'm not sure what that means. But I am 112, 111 nautical miles front with 112. I'm expecting it to change to 111 in a second. Nautical miles from the airport. And looks like the airport elevation is 118 feet. I saw 32 on the chart. And let's see, so 32 meters. Let me do a little quick check here. 32 meters in feet is 104. So that 32 that I saw that I put in for the elevation could have very well been the still hadn't changed. Okay, now it's changing. And the elevation is changing. So the elevation may be the elevation under the plane. And I see the GPS is not updating automatically, but when I hit pan, it updates. Now it's updating distance 85.4, but you would think it would be counting down. Hmm. So I'm not sure what pan is showing me. And okay, the ETA did. Gotcha. Yeah, I wondered what happened. Um, so I'm kind of looking at the pan mode, and um, I see my. I'm a little bit confused because my distance says 86.89 nautical miles, and it's counting up rather than down. And if that's showing me my my destination, then I would expect for it to count down rather than up. And my elevation changes as I click. You know, it could be that that's the elevation here. Let me just check. So if I hit click there, yeah, that's what, okay, so I get it now. So that's the elevation to wherever I click. So now I get it. So so the elevation at the field is 38 feet, which I put 32 feet in when I did the flight plan because I did see the number 32. Okay, so I just learned something. So if I had an engine outage, if my engine went out and I knew I was going down, say I knew my best glide was going to get me here, then I could see what my elevation is. Yeah, yep, yep, you're right. You're absolutely right. I just figured that out just by kind of clicking on different points. Hence, hence the word pan, because the elevation at sea level out to be zero, which it is, and the elevation at the airport is at 38 feet. The elevation here at this high mountain range here is 2,500 feet. It's 180 nautical miles from the airport, from the aircraft. Yeah, and this would be the Baron 2. The Baron 2, this point, the track, and I guess this would be how long it would take me to get there. So if I put it back over the field, I'm 32 minutes away from the field. My God, has I thought this flight was supposed to be. I thought it was supposed to be at hours, a couple hours. Well, because I was gonna stop the stream and just let it fly, and then come back to the stream. But if I only got 30 minutes, I might as well just sit here and finish this flight, which is 100% the way I've been flying. When I see these guys who have multiple flights on FS Economy, then I'm figuring, all right, they getting in the aircraft, loading it up, putting it in the air, walking away, coming back to it, which I anticipate doing a lot of that to get this aircraft to the United States. So I see Citation Max just fired up his stream. So yeah, this, the more I play around with this GPS system, the more I like it, and it's definitely more intuitive, well, easier than spinning these little buttons trying to dial stuff in. So it looks like it's getting dark in the neck of the woods I'm flying over. And I'm not in real world. I think it would be about the middle of the night if I was flying real world time. Um, I'm not sure what time I've got the time set for that neck of the woods, but we'll see. The sim says I've always noticed that this guy here has never been powered with a light, and right now that's not a clock anyway. The clock is on the no clock on the yoke, and let's see. Timer, map light. Um, let's see. It seemed like there was a clock in this Pilatus somewhere. Yeah, yeah. He just went live. I'm. I enjoy his streams. In fact, so do you stream? If you do, I definitely would give you a follow. I'm gonna click on your name and take a look, a peek. And I am looking, and it says you are offline, and I don't see any videos. I don't see any videos. Okay, videos. No videos found. So, my friend, I see your Twitch account was started in, I think, 2017. And so I'm surprised most of the people who watch Twitch tend to stream. Get out, get back and look out of the window here. But it's cool. If you ever do start streaming, let me know. I can actually close some of these windows. The other day, I did a flight, and I flew from, I think, Charlotte to the coast of North Carolina, and I had a hard time getting a stabilized approach into the airport that I was landing at, and the flight took me about an hour, maybe an hour and a half or so. And just as I was lining up, I kept going around, flying around the area looking to come in, and lo and behold, I my sim crashed right on short final, and so I lost the entire flight. Can you believe that? I guess it happens. Okay, so I need to start getting down. Uh, oh yeah, I should have been getting down. Okay, and what do we want to get down to? Let's see, we know that the field. Let's see, hit the back button. Go to pan mode. Okay, we're coming out of the mountains. And we know that the field is 38 feet. And here, elevation is roughly about 300 feet. But there's no way I can get down that low this quick. So go here, seatbelt sign, and we'll start a kamikaze dive. Now, I know that you can't really transition. Yeah, it's interesting to stream. To me, it adds another dimension to flying, and it gives me some incentives to not take some shortcuts that I might otherwise want to take. And the even though I don't always have a lot of visitors when I do stream, I usually upload a lot of my streams to YouTube, where I've got a small following there who enjoy some of the stuff that I upload. Okay, so I am in a kamikaze dive. I should have started getting down about 60 nautical miles ago, so I could have a gentle descent of about 500 feet per minute. But I actually tripled that to get down because it looks like I'm only uh, here. Oh, I am 100 nautical miles from the airport, so I don't have to do a kamikaze dive. If you hear me chuckling, after I found out that I did something I didn't have to do, and I looked at the word FOOL, then it, then, anyway, connect the dots. Okay, so let me adjust my descent rate so that my passengers' ears don't blow up on them. I don't know why I thought I had. Uh, what did I look at that made me think I only had 90, 50 something nautical miles before I had to get down. Uh, maybe I think the pan thing was somewhere else, and I didn't. Yeah, it's probably I probably hit. Uh, I probably clicked over somewhere and saw something like this, and I said, "Oh yeah, yeah." So just trying to do a post mortem and figure out why I only thought that I had to do why I thought I was a lot closer than I am. So with that, I can give it a little bit more torque since I don't have the descent rate that of 1,500 feet a minute. Stay up around 200 knots. And we should be descending through the clouds at some point. Since I can see light on the ground out of my left window, then I think the cloud level is relatively, well, it's not really even clouds, it's just haze. And yeah, I think that's just haze. In fact, is that a field down there? Yeah, it is a field. 'Foxtrot Oscar Golf Romeo is the field that I can see. 10 miles, 25 miles, I think 15 miles work. But yeah, I really am enjoying just this little time that that I'm able to spend with the GTN 750 just now is really, I can see the value. I can definitely see the value in this over some of the other stuff. Over the 530, definitely. In fact, it looks like I'm actually getting almost as much information that I get out of the G100. I'm sorry, the G1000, if not more. I think the G1000 is tied more to the engine systems, to the electrical and hydraulic and PTOC static air systems than the 750, but the information that I get out of the 750 has just been phenomenal. So I am not really um, doing proper procedures for ATC. So, but from a situational awareness standpoint of view, having a GTN tell me that I am inside aerospace or that I'm approaching the aerospace is just valuable information. I don't have to rely on the the lines like on this guy to see if I'm in air near airspace. I actually have to be able to look at the lines, which I don't see. It's not tracking because I am not at this airport. Uh, let's see. I'm not going to go there. Just going to leave it, turn it back off, and not use a backup GPS for right now. Yeah, I am beginning my descent. I thought at one point I looked at something and I thought I only had 50 miles to the field, 57 miles to the field, and I started a descent rate at of 1,500 feet per minute because I thought, oh man, I'm late on my descent. But I realize now that I wasn't. So I was 100 miles from the field. So I'm doing a 500 foot per minute descent, which is a lot more comfortable to passengers than their ears than a high speed kamikaze dive descent. So I think I am going to level out. I think I got this set up to level out at, I'm hitting the wrong buttons. Oh, come on. That's the button. Yeah, at actually I want to level out at 9,000. But yeah, this GTN 750, I'm really pleased with it. It's a lot better, a lot easier. Hey, GA Pilot, what's going on, my friend? Um, uh, Forgive me, for I know not what I do. I bought a aircraft. Well, I'm leasing an aircraft, and I'm leasing it out. I found one for $750,000, the Pilatus PC-12, and I leased it. And I'm thinking, well, the aircraft sell on FSEconomy for about $1 million. And I'm thinking, well, I got $250,000. I can use that to fly it to North America and on down into the United States. And I completely forgot that I got lease payments to make on it at the rate of roughly $100,000 a month. So now I've got to pick my way through Northeast Africa on up through the Middle East into Europe and over the Atlantic against a headwind in a single prop plane on into Canada and then back down into the States to get it home. The good news is I got 8 months to do it. So I'm flying my first flight, which no, no, no. Yeah, right. Yeah, real world. I wish. No, FS economy. Um, man, real world, real world. I can't buy a $750 drone. No, I'm just joking, but yeah, I wish. Um, yeah, that's so funny. Thank you. I needed that. Whew. But yeah, um, so yeah, I'm flying it from from some airport in the Congo to another airport north of the Congo. I actually got a let's see. So this is where I'm at, and I'm in. This is the tip end of Africa. This is about where the airport where the airport was at. I flew it, I think, a couple hundred nautical miles yesterday. Um, but um, but now I'm working my way north, and the plan is to work north through Africa into the Middle East, kind of hug the coastline, because that's where I'm going to find the majority of the airports, of the larger airports, on up through Europe, um, across the Atlantic into um, into Iceland here, and then into Greenland, over into Canada, and then work my way back down into the United States. At least that's the plan. Um, and I got 8 months to do this. It shouldn't take me if I'm not if I've got a 1,000-mile leg planned, and I doubt I do 1,000-mile stream. About to say you better get busy. Yeah, Iceland, the few, yeah, flights from Europe I canceled for. Oh man, that's I saw come across my email that that the United States has been put on a it's been we Trump finally declared a state of emergency for the whole country. Um, so I haven't watched any news to find out exactly what that means. But yeah, so I've got some work to do. I've been I've had a passenger with me on this flight, Stefan 8, and he's been keeping me company, which I really appreciate. And not only that, but he's a fellow PC-12 pilot, um, a fellow sim PC-12 pilot, and he's been giving me some tips about this new GTN Garmin system, the GTN 750 that I got displaying my moving map. And so far, man, what I'm seeing with this GTN 750, I mean it's light years above the the 530. So in terms of the situational awareness capabilities that it provides to me, to help me stay on course, and to its look ahead. I mean, it's just incredible. Right too. So, have you heard from Dimitri? I haven't seen him in weeks, or a couple weeks, I think. I've been meaning to send him an email, but I've been hoping that he would pop back up. Um, Stefan Dimitri is GA Pilot, and I started a virtual flying club, not a club, but a airline for GA pilots at virtualskyaviation.org. And it started out with three principles: GA pilot, uh, a guy who streams, his stream name is Dimitri Lee, and myself. And he either got busy, sick, or um, decided that well, for whatever reason, I just haven't seen him recently, and I just wonder how, just when I meet people and see them every day, and all of a sudden don't see them at all. I just wonder, is everything okay? So I'm descending through 10,000 for 9,000 for it's one thing that I noticed, that the transition altitude for Africa, according to um, the was let's see, for flight something was like 5,000 feet. Um, but for flight, I don't think it covers Africa, so maybe anyway. When I reached about 5,000 feet, I went through transition altitude. Um, yeah, I am seeing my flight on for flight. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not seeing the airport. Am I? So I'm approaching Libreville now. Distance 18. Oh man, I'm only seven. Is that 17 nautical miles? And I do need to slow down and and I'm gonna have to do a 360 to get down, or I I need to learn to do these approaches. Now that I've got the 750, I will figure out how to shoot these approaches. But in the meantime, um, I see my I see my field there. Man, I got here quick. Okay, and I think what I'm gonna do is just keep coming down here. And I can actually come down a little faster. And I want to capture that just in case I get distracted. Uh, Wrong way. And there are city lights. Yep, I'm back into civilization. You know, as much as I love the PC-12 and the TBM, I gotta say there's gotta be something said for having a second engine just for the redundancy. Just for the redundancy, which is why, of course, a lot of people don't fly single engines over large bodies of water and then choose routes that keep them close to airports or just in case the engine do go out. And it's actually too dark to see my aircraft now. See it silhouette. There you go. There's a silhouette. And my passengers are getting dizzy. I can actually come down a little quicker. I usually try not to descend too fast when I got passengers, but I guess I can. Round and around and around we go. Where the world stops, nobody knows. Yeah, let's go back to the left this time. Of course, one good thing is I'm not in an area of the world where I got to worry about the FAA. Okay, so I am low enough now. How far am I away from the field? Uh, Back 16 miles. And which which landing strip do I want? Uh, and approach. Uh, shall I do? We just do. Uh, let's see. Uh, Actually, I didn't want that. Seizure approach. And So I'm if I'm quiet, it's because I'm learning. Um, I can't click on it and activate that leg. Um, of course, that's because I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm gonna do a VFR approach, not a visual, not a IFR, not a GPS, not an ILS, just a VFR. Um, back map. All right, so let's go back and well, guess if I were to turn to a head in a 300, that might, and I guess I'd do 16, land to the south. I don't know what the winds are. Um, should be to click on this guy. Nope, that didn't work. Go back, but I did something somewhere, and I was able to get the ADA's frequency. I did something somewhere, and I was able to get the ADA's frequency um, before, and oh man, look at my airspeed. So I'm trying to remember how did I get the ADA's frequency. Airport. Okay, food. Information approaches around airport information. Okay, so I'm learning. Frequencies. Tower center. Put the ILS frequency in. Stand by, and I don't see a ATOS, so I'm not gonna worry about it. Back. And I didn't mean to do that just yet. Back. Okay. Click there. Nope. There. There we go. And we're at 2,000, but we're a long way from the airport because I turned. And let's see. Pan mode. 13 nautical miles. And I can see that there's a beacon light way off in the distance. I don't know if you guys can see it, but that's my airport. And I don't want to mix up runway. I don't think I can see the runway lights from here even zoomed in, but I do think this is the beacon light. And 2 red. Of course, if I was flying this in real life, then I would have to be familiar with all of the rules and regs for this airspace, because what it is in our neck of the woods could be different here. All right. So what I didn't see was a weighted um, vectors on that approach. But like I said, my plan is just to do a VFR. I should be at 4,000 feet, so I can see more, keep more, keep up with what the terrain looks like. It's mighty dark over my location, so um, don't see any mountains, but apparently there's no civilization up under me. Must be dense forests or what? I can't imagine, but I want to pick up about 1,500 feet. Get up to about 35. Ah, the likely event. I was gonna grab 35 manually, but the I can move a little bit closer to the airport since I'm flying ahead in this. Now, after spending all this time flying to this airport, it would certainly be a bad thing to lose the aircraft either through pilot error, computer error, or an aircraft failure. But as we know, if I lose it, it's probably going to be more out of pilot error than anything. See, and then it was 16, I think I overshot overshot it. So let's turn it back to 12. Yeah, overshot it big time. Okay, so it's my plane. And the lights can come on. Inertia separator can come on. Oh man, look at me. I'm drunk. I'm flying faster than I think. Let's see, because I'm sync rate. Gear down. And it feels at 30, between, at 38 feet. So first 15 degrees of flaps. I think I was close enough to that flap range to be okay. 500. Get lined up here. I don't know if I got a wind component or not. For all I know, I could have a strong tailwind. Short funnel. I'm a little high. Not lined up on my center line, at least I don't feel like I am. Final, final flaps. Where's my center line? Reverse thrust. No brakes. Brakes. And back taxi a little bit to catch this one. And it could have been a better landing. Um, really wasn't stable on that landing, but I didn't hurt the nose gear, so I'll take it. All right. So let's see. Now this flight was only worth about $2,000 with the fares, and set the brake so I can end this flight on FSE. All right, finish flight, and they should deposit our money. Let's jump over to FSE and see how we did. I think I can take you guys with me over there. Okay, so logs. All right, so this is the flight that I just did, and yep, to food, and I earned $2,200 off of it. Let's look at the details. So the the flight was worth $2,400, and it costs. I'm paying the ground fee, the ground crew, $250 rounded, and which leaves me $2,200 rounded. I've got $1,600 cash in my pocket, $16,000 cash in my pocket, and I'm $86,000 from being able to make my lease payment. So I've got to make some more flights. Now, my plan at some point is to leave food and let's see, let me go, shucks, let me go back, and I got GMAK and GMAF and GAA. So I think it's, I think I want to get to GMAK next. I think, might, let's see. So let's go back to food and see which one of those get me to that location. And with OBS, I can't, OBS gets rid of my browser, not my browser, but my scroll bar. So I can't scroll down in OBS, which sucks. Um, so I am going to look in my regular browser and see which one takes me to a, I don't see a single airport that's going to take me to a airport, a destination that starts with G. So I think it's the shucks. I thought I did this correct when I loaded these flights up, but apparently I missed something. So I'm going to have to go back and re rethink my rethink my destinations. The pick. Hey, no Viking. Glad to, yeah, not yet. Glad to see you, my friend. Um, Thanks for stopping by. I'm finishing up a flight here. I started about just something after 4 and have flown a few hundred miles, and actually am thinking about how I am going to make my next flight. But the what I wound up doing was buying the Pilatus PC-12, in Africa, and I got to fly from Africa to the United States on using FS economy routes and earn enough money at the same time to make my $100,000 lease payment. So right now um, I'm only $16,000 short, and it dawned on me that I thought I was going to have a couple $100,000 left over, but I actually, when I bought the plane, I actually, um, well, I don't have a couple $100,000. All I got is 16. All I had was $14,000 and in my pocket, and I need roughly $100,000 by the end of the month, or the middle of this time next month, the 12th of April. So I do have to fly some routes. Anyway, Corona has not got me yet. Um, oh man, it is unreal. I'm not really a prepper, but I did buy um, a few days of food. So if for some reason I have to shut in for a couple or 3 weeks, then hopefully I won't starve. But I have to eat, and so I need to get out and work so I can buy food. Oh man, no kidding. A fight over toilet paper. You know, it I wonder why toilet paper is such a big deal to people. Um, you know, if push come to shove, and I know this is not comfortable, but if you ran out of toilet paper and you got access to you in the house anyway, and you got access to a shower, um, and a wash rag, then you can clean yourself up. Um, and yeah, it's not ideal, but it's food that I'm worried about. If I run out of food, and and for whatever reason things go to hell into a handbasket, and I can't get food from the grocery stores, nor can I get food from my neighbors, family, or friends because they're in dire straits too and hoarding, for whatever reason. If it get to that point, which I pray tell it doesn't, but toilet paper is the least of my worries. But hey, man, let's be thankful that we we're not having um, the zombie apocalypse. Yep. So I am gonna end the A cars flight. Okay, so that's done, and I can get in here and shut the. Well, I should park. I can at least take the time to park the aircraft, because I was tempted to just shut it down right here on the taxiway. Let's see if we can't find somewhere to park. Yeah, I think if I'm gonna park it, I don't know if they actually made buildings for this airport. I am gonna cheat. No buildings. So the airport that I departed from was modeled, did have buildings and whatnot, but this one, it does not have buildings. So It's right on the coast. Oh, there is a building there. Um, just an auto gen building. And I am going to park and brakes. Okay. And after taxi, let's get out. I always forget to clean the aircraft up whenever I land. Never fails. Flaps up. And so so what I'm trying to do is remember one, two, three. One lights, two flaps, three transponder. Whenever I land, and let's see, transponder, and I want standby. Standby. Well, where did I learn? Where did I go to learn how to fly these things and the procedures? Um, Actually, it's a progression. So I watch other people videos. I watch. I go by the checklist. I draw on a little of my flight school experience, but it's a progression. First, I learned the basics using the 172, the default 172. That's a low and slow flying aircraft. Um, and then, I've spent some time learning. I left the 172 and I changed to the one, not the one, but the Piper Era, which was it's called a complex aircraft because you have to lift your landing gear and set the the mixture so that your prop turns at a correct speed. Now the turbos do the mixture setting automatically, but I do have to remember to lift the landing gear and set it down. And all the time that I'm flying, I'm kind of learning how to read the sectional charts, which is the equivalent of the roadmap. Um, as far as procedures go, um, I learned some procedures from when I was taking real world lessons, like how to close the how to shut the aircraft down. But now that I'm in the aircraft that I'm totally unfamiliar with, like the Pilatus, most of what I've learned just by going through the checklist. And I use a program called X Checklister, which is why you see me use X Checklist, uh, is, which is why you see me use this program. And this program would tell me basically what to do to start up the aircraft, how to get it configured to fly. Once I'm in, once I got it off the ground, how to configure it for cruise and so forth. So I use these checklist procedures. And yes, I do make mistakes, and kind of keep at it and learn until I get good enough to figure stuff out on my own, or like when I was doing the checklist for this same aircraft by a different vendor, I had to look up what a moor is. which turned out to be the manual override lever, and the PLC, because that those terms are not used in this aircraft, which is the power control lever. Um, this one used an anodyne system, an Alvadyne system, and I had no clue how to use it. And so some of it was just playing around with it, clicking on it, seeing what happens, and some of it may be, a few times I might have to Google something like I want to know what this system here does, what the what the EPS system does. And that's EPS is the emergency power system, the electronic flight instrument system. And so I had to go the electronic control, I mean the environmental control system. So I had to Google these things and kind of figure them out. So yeah, it there's unless unless I got a Pilatus pilot that's teaching me these things, then I'm doing whatever research that I can do to try to learn them on my own. Um, and right now, I'm actually trying to shut the aircraft down. So they actually have procedures for doing it. So I just got the shutdown. Um, and I see I got 2 pages for shutdown, shutdown one of two. So power go to ground, which is the power control, which is let's see, um, power, yeah, the power control lever. Not the, let's see, let me use this view here. Um, yeah, yeah. So the condition lever go to ground idle. So I am gonna pull this guy to ground, okay, and and see that kind of adjusted the engine for me. And now I'm gonna get back up here, and the condition lever now goes to cutoff, which is that white lever. So, and that will stop the props from turning. Now, there's probably some stuff that I should have did with the electrical system prior to, maybe not. But anyway, I'm just going to go through it and see what happens. Um, and the seatbelt uh, comes, no smoking thing comes off switch. Um, I mean the seat. It said seat, and hit no smoking. But anyway, all my cooling systems go off, and I know I do have some cooling stuff. I know my environmental control system is still on, so I'm gonna just shut that off. Um, my standby switch goes on, and my oxygen comes off. So this is oxygen here, and just when I first started, I would have to hunt for these things, but by flying the same aircraft over and over, I'm starting to learn what stuff at, so I can get to it real fast. Now it says turn the environmental control off, which I've already done. So I can check that off. All radios can go off, and um, I've got a master for that, but I can turn this radio here off. Um, and all the icing is already off. I never turned it on. I'm here in Africa that didn't need icing. External lights can go off. Nav light off, strobe off, beacon off. Okay, so that's done. Inverter generator overhead can go on battery. That's that switch. Avionics 1 and 2 can go off. generator switch 1 off, 2 off, standby bus off, battery 2 and battery 1 off, and environmental emergency power system. So you see how this is how I'm using this checklist to teach me stuff, and that's the way that I'm learning to the proper a not the but a proper procedure for shutting this down. Um, in the real world, there may this may follow a different order. I was just talking to another guy who who was on this chat, and he still may be here, Stephen, and he was saying that he usually get the procedures off of Google. So I'm assuming that what he does is use real world procedures to shut the SIM stuff off and on. So secure the aircraft, passenger door open, cargo door open, all doors after unload close. And so this flight is done. So now all I got to do is just add my chucks and covers, and it is parked and tied down for the night. I didn't park it. I guess I did. I didn't park. Is that straight? No, it's not quite straight, but considering I don't have a marshal out there, I think I did pretty good. So that does it for me tonight. And Norviking, GA Pilot, Stefan, I appreciate you guys stopping by speaking, and anybody else who stopped by who popped in and didn't say hello. I'm sure you wanted to. Next time, maybe you will. In the meantime, I will probably my well, I'm not sure when I'm going to do my next stream, but I don't think I'm going to stream every flight through Africa, because since I'll be flying the same aircraft over the same terrain, and some of the flights will literally be hours long, then it would just be too redundant, and that wouldn't make for anything interesting. So, with that said, this video would go up, and once I get to a certain point, if I change up aircraft, then I'll do another video. Okay, guys, remember, a good pilot is always learning. Ciao.